Oh, come on.
Allison is looking for a second date update with Will. Hi, Allison.
Hey.
All right, so take us from the beginning then. Tell us how you met Will and how the first date went. We'll go from there.
We went to dinner and drinks, and we hung out for like 3 hours. You know, not great dates, only last like an hour.
Right.
And the conversation was really good. And so I was hoping he'd want to go somewhere afterwards, but he didn't seem like he wanted to, so I didn't push it.
So you sensed then that he wasn't really into the whole thing.
I mean, that's a good question because he hugged me at the car, and I said to him, you know, I had a really great time, and he said, me too. And I said, call me later, and he said, yeah. So I thought things would progress after that night.
Well, is it possible he wasn't having as good a time as you did?
I don't know. We talked about a lot of things, and we laughed like so much. I don't know. He seemed like he was interested in me. He'd ask questions about my family, my job, stuff like that, and he'd say, "Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's neat." You know, I don't know.
Did he offer much up about himself?
Some, but mostly he was asking questions about me.
He was pulling a Jeff. That was always Jeff's way to not have to talk about himself if he kept her talking about herself by asking questions. That's what he would do.
Well, people love to talk about themselves.
Oh,
so
they sure do.
If you feed them questions, it is a way to, keep things moving.
Did you have a favorite did you have a certain list of questions that were kind of your standard set that you would, did you have an opener? Did you have let's see if we can go here?
Well, I was always really curious about work. Like, what's your job? Like, what do you do? And how did you get into that? And do you like it? And what is it like? And where are you from? I mean, those are things I'm genuinely interested in. And that just, sometimes you just got to let people go. Oh, yeah. That'll always lead to something else. There will always be something in the answer that triggers some other question.
Do you remember ever getting like a really shocking answer from somebody that you didn't expect that knocked you off your chair, that either made you think, oh, wow, she's really hot, or oh, wow, she's really crazy, or oh, God, she's so dark?
Well, the mortician was kind of interesting.
You went, how did you get interested in that field?
How does that attract someone? I don't know. But that's interesting, though. Did he? So I guess my question for you would be, did he, because you know how sometimes, so you're having this great conversation, you feel like you're vibing with someone, and then the minute you step out of the restaurant, it's like stepping into an alternate universe where suddenly they got anything and everything on their mind except for you. Did he get a call or a text?
Not exactly. No, he wasn't on his phone. That would have been an obvious cue, right? Yeah. But, I mean, he still seemed interested and present with me. But, yeah, it seemed like I felt like I was led on. I felt like we were going to talk again the next day and, get together next week. And then nothing. It was total ghost.
What if it was something as
simple?
I know
he blocked me.
Yeah, and I'm not saying this is the case, but what if it was something as simple as he's just not that into you, but you had a good time, and you're leaving the restaurant, and she says, "Hey, this was really fun. I'd love to do this again," and you don't want to do it again. What do you say?
It would be something probably along the lines of, listen, I really enjoyed getting to know you. I had a lovely time tonight. I want to thank you for choosing to spend your precious time getting to know me.
Oh, my God, of course.
Yeah, I mean, really.
I'd love to do this again.
Oh, man, you know what? On a friend level, I think that would be really nice. I just don't see this
what?
I just don't see this going anywhere.
I'm in the friend zone.
This is why I don't date. Because I would not do well. I don't do well under pressure like that.
But he didn't say anything like that to you, Allison.
No. I asked in the text, like, what's up? What's the deal? You can tell me if you're not interested in me, but I got nothing. So
yeah, I do. I think it's just a tough conversation for most people, and I think that's why so many of them end up on Second Date Update. Because you never know how the other person's going to take it.
I mean, why? What is it about me? Did I do something wrong? Is it just I'm not attractive enough? What
if they start crying?
I'm not funny enough?
Oh.
Stupid.
this
I
is
admire the people that just have fun with it.
Well, I ran into Patrick a couple weeks ago, Jen. He was one of your 5 dates.
Oh, on the 5-date challenge.
Yep. And he said, is Jen still single? And I said, she is.
Very much so.
How about you? And he's like, I am.
Oh, yeah.
And he said, I had a great time. I knew it was just a radio thing, but it was still really cool to sit down and chat with her.
That's nice.
That was very nice. Patrick was a very nice man.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to take a break here, Allison, but when we come back, let's just call Will and see what's going on. Let's try to get the truth out of him, and hopefully a second date. That'd be great, right? Because you're still up for a second date.
Definitely. I'd
Okay.
appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thanks.
we'll do it next as we continue. Jeff and Jen, Cincinnati's Q102.
My house has a new glow. I love my windows. Universal Windows Direct.
Summer's here. You don't want to be running that AC nonstop. Keep that cold air inside with new energy-efficient windows from Universal Windows Direct. Hi, it's Tim. Call for a free estimate. 513-755-1800.
I love my windows. They've got that brand new home effect. Universal Windows Direct.
So Allison and Will go on a date, hit it off. Typical second date update scenario where it seemed like there was a possibility that would lead to like a second or third date, and no. You know how sometimes after dinner it's like, hey, you want to run across the street to the bar, get a drink, or come back to my place for a nightcap or anything?
Nope.
You never did say how you met him.
I met him on Tinder. I'm shocked that we didn't continue on. Everything seemed perfectly fine at dinner. Not just perfectly fine. Everything seemed really awesome. Like, we really got along, and everything seemed to match up.
Well, let's call him up, see what's up.
Hello?
Hello, is this Will?
Yeah.
It's Jeff, Jen, Fritch, and Tim at Q102. How are you this morning?
I'm okay. How are you?
We're good.
Hesitant. I would describe that as hesitant.
Will, has anyone ever said to you you're kind of hard to read?
No.
Well, if you got a few minutes, we'd love to have a chat with you on the radio if you're cool with that.
Okay.
So we heard from your friend Allison. She told us about your date, and just an FYI, she had a great time.
That girl.
What? Well, yeah. Did you not have a good time with Allison? Do you remember Allison?
Yeah, I remember her. And I thought everything was going pretty good for the most part. But then we started talking about the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, which I thought was totally ridiculous. Will was way out of line and so wrong on so many levels. Mm-hmm. You know, I live in the world where you never hit another person. That's just a big, hard no. Right. I'm a huge fan of Will Smith. I like the guy. I always have. And I've just always seen him as this like level-headed guy, you know, like a great role model. But that was messed up, man. But before I had a chance to say any of that, she went off on how hot all that was. That like a man defending his woman was like the sexiest thing a guy could do. And she said that when Will slapped Chris, she actually had a mini orgasm. And that if a man ever disrespected her, she would expect me to respond like Will and quote unquote slap some sense into that bitch. And she meant it. Like she was worked up over all of it. So yeah, I didn't say anything. I just kind of like laughed it off. But it's obvious that she and I have very different philosophies on how to handle a situation like that. So, you know, I'm not hitting anyone over like a stupid joke.
Okay.
It's been interesting to watch all of the different reactions. So many people with completely different perspectives.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, there are a lot of guys out there who hear stories like this, Allison, and think you like it when we're aggressive or sometimes violent. In this case, some are arguing that it was justified, but, you know, you get into that whole discussion about where toxic masculinity begins and ends, and it leaves a lot of men confused about what's appropriate in these types of situations.
What's expected of them.
Yeah.
So, like, what would you do if somebody said about me? Like, what would your reaction be then?
Walk away, move on, or like politely tell the guy like, that's not cool. Use your words, like we were taught in preschool.
Yeah. I guess that also depends on how big he is, too. Like how much bigger he is than you.
Yeah, and how aggressive he is.
Totally.
It's hard to say.
If he's a little guy, well, now.
Now I'm all big and tough.
That's right. That's true.
Well, yeah. And if you're bigger than the other guy, you hope that just your size and the force of your voice will be enough and it won't actually resort to physical violence.
Right.
You can intimidate him enough that the little guy puts his tail between his legs and kind of scurries off.
I can kind of get behind the idea of a woman wanting to have someone stand up for her. But the rage that was in Will Smith's face when they did the zoom up on that, I was
when he was yelling, that was
like,
That's Smith I haven't seen.
That was a different thing.
There were so many things that have happened to him in his life that led him to the point where
To that moment.
that happened. Just like, probably a lot of women. Let me ask you this, Allison. I mean, if you had a history of, men not having your back, because if, that would cause a woman to want a man who displays that he will have your back in a situation.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we got some messages, a couple of messages from women who said, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not saying what he did was right, but I'd give anything to have a man stand up for me. I could see that coming from a woman who, especially in family like in-law situations where you got a mouthy, inappropriate brother-in-law who doesn't know when to shut up because he had too much to drink.
Right.
And your man doesn't say anything because it's his brother.
Yeah. Hard to say what you would do in the moment.
So I guess this means there's no chance of a second date, eh, Will?
No. I'm surprised it's still here.
Yeah, I guess I didn't pick up on the fact that you're a pussy, so that's too bad.
Well, now, I don't know if we need to go there.
Okay, then.
She's got a definite type that she's looking for.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yep.
Man.
She's ready for someone to break a pool stick over his knee and go after that son of a bitch.
That'd actually be pretty hot.
I had a situation at a bar once. I don't know if I've ever told the story, actually.
Please do.
Where a fight almost broke out because this guy making inappropriate comments to a friend of mine that was there. And she was married and her husband was also in the bar, but he was kind of far away. The guys were down at another end kind of doing their own thing. And the girls were down at the other end, and this guy came up and he was like hitting on her pretty hard. And she was being nice and, but being like, not really into, and he just kept up. So, of course, my mouth in a really kind of smart ass way. Yeah, I wasn't nasty, but I don't even remember what I said. It was sarcastic to try to get him to go. And he turned and said something really super nasty to me.
Oh, boy.
And very personal. And I was like, totally prepared to handle it. Like, didn't faze me at all. I was ready to go a few rounds. I could battle this guy verbally. I wasn't intimidated by him in any way, shape, or form. But one of my friends, male friends, was sitting next to me, heard what the guy said, and jumped right up to defend me.
Yeah.
And before you know it, tables are being shoved, and then the other men notice that something's going on, so they all come over. And
was this at
there's
Putters in Liberty
yelling.
Township?
And they were yelling and
I was just
shoving.
trying to be funny.
No, yeah. And like kind of shoving tables and stuff. And I'm like, seriously? And now the women are all upset because their husbands are about to get a brawl in the middle of the bar. And so I'm grabbing the girls and I'm just very calmly, I'm like, just get out of the way. Just get out of their way. Don't try to grab them and pull the, you're just making it bigger.
This kind of thing happens to me all the time.
I've seen it before. But yeah, and in that moment, I was really annoyed. I appreciated my guy friend having my back, right? And I wish he wouldn't have done it because I felt like I could have easily managed it on my own.
Right. Yeah. Well, we really do appreciate you taking the call.
And I get
Thank you.
Yeah.
Because there were a couple of the husbands that you could see it in their faces like, oh man, we don't want to do this, but we feel like that this is the role we're
Well, that's
supposed to
just
play
exactly
in this
right.
moment.
That's what I'm saying.
And then
Yeah.
I think they were kind of mad at the initial guy that defended me, like, why'd you got to start this? Because now we all have to join in because
Yeah.
that's the guy code.
Totally.
You know? So whoever
right.
starts it.
Well, Allison, good luck out there. Hope you find what you're looking for.
Thanks. So do I.
All right.
All right. So if you need a little help with the second date update, send us an email, Jeff and Jenn at WKRQ.com.
All right, coming up, something really weird happened to me this morning.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Twilight Zone, you said, right?
Yeah,
Glad you made
really
it.
weird. I'll share it with you. What else? The first audio recording of Bigfoot in Ohio.